folks, welcome back to Africa. This is Chris once again. Hello folks, welcome back to Chris Wyatt Africa on a sad and tragic day in the mother city of Cape Town, where a massive fire, which we yet to know the source of or cause of. Let's not speculate. There's lots of interesting speculation out there to talk about, but let's be concerned about the firefighter who's been injured, as well as the incalculable damage done to South Africa's cultural heritage and to the damage done to the University of Cape Town's library, one where one can only imagine how many precious books, manuscripts have been lost forever as a consequence of this fire. As to the regards to the competence of those fighting the fire, let's hold off commentary on that. But it does appear that there are some very strange happenings with this fire in Cape Town today. Welcome, folks. No, I'm not picking up smoke from the fire in Cape Town on this side of the Atlantic, just sporting my South Africa face mask. Anyway, folks, I have a compilation of video I'm going to show you here in just a moment. It's about 6 minutes long. It's a video compiled from a number of sources who provided video that they've taken during the day in Cape Town, South Africa, on a fire that started apparently on Table Mountain. It destroyed the Rhodes Memorial Restaurant. It destroyed historic Mustart's Mill. It has destroyed the University of Cape Town's precious library, and apparently some residents, as well as people's motor vehicles up at the restaurant. You will see a video from Liz Lombard, who posted on Twitter that she was trying to escape the fire. You also see someone who, I don't know who it was, but he's up near the fire. He's talking about it getting closer, and I hope he got out of there safely. A fire can leap hundreds of feet in a split second, and for those who've actually fought fires in the past, those are professional firefighters and those who've had roles in it. I have on occasion been involved in help putting these things out. You cannot take them for lightly. A fire is quite serious, particularly when wind is involved. It can jump and entrap you. We lose firefighters in the mountain states and out west of the United States every season fighting forest fires. You can't take this lightly. But Liz Lombard escaped the fire apparently, but her vehicle was destroyed. Hopefully she's safe now. Thank you for the footage, Liz, which I've gotten from her Twitter account, as well as AJG Molyneux, who is apparently a crime reporter in Cape Town, who covered some of the video from the UCT library, and I'll provide that as well. The other folks are nameless, as people are multiply sharing videos. It's hard for me to ascertain the origin of many of these videos. Please stick with me. You'll see still images and video, which I'm going to play for the next 6 minutes about what has happened in Cape Town today, the mother city. So here we go.
As you don't understand how fast this is going. It's with me in seconds. It's right on me. Here it is, here it is, here it is. I'm gonna have to bolt. I'm gonna have to go. The heat's hitting me, the smoke's hitting me. It's here, it's up there, it's there, it's there. Can you hear it? Got behind me. There it is. This is insane. Jesus, this is hot. This is hot. I better go. There's a helicopter coming to drop water.
I'm trying to outrun the fire. I think my car just got burnt at Rhodes Memorial. It's spreading like wildfire.
Oh my God.
it by the blocks.
Never go. Look at it
But
going
it's
there.
gonna go spinning
It's
very quickly.
very quickly. It was dry today. But it started low, no? It started low. Must put on your radio and listen.
This is gonna be a whole day, whole night thing.
Yeah.
To-
But what is that now? The helicopter.
You can see these vehicles on top there along the path.
Yeah.
That's probably the firemen.
And you know they had to come from Tafelberg, eh? With that road, right around.
Whoa, Dad, look at the fire. It's huge. It's yellow.
Alright, sorry, I saw there was a sound issue on my live recording. I'm trying to fix that problem. But basically you can see here I'm at the Jammy Steps at UCT campus. There's quite a large firefighter presence and Metro Police and law enforcement are here. And this is where the helicopter is really focusing right now. It's this building that's on fire. You see at the top there, side. The rest of this place is also and yes, I'll be bringing you more as it goes on.
All right, folks, let's address a few things about this horrific event taking place or took place today in Cape Town. Latest news reports I've seen is that the fire may be under control, or at least it's not spreading any further. I can't confirm that because it's coming not from the government or firefighters, but from independent sources, so citizen reporting. So I cannot confirm it because I'm not on the ground in Cape Town. Even if I was on the ground in Cape Town, not a single person would be well placed to make such a statement. Only officials would be able to make that, having a better view from their control center. So let's talk about this. First off, for all the people out there that say, hey, how come you never cover with good news? I do good news. I do videos all the time about good news. Hard to find good news in South Africa, but I do it. And I do it about Africa, which is hard to find, but I do good news stories. But none of you all rock up and watch my content. Let me just say something here. I'm not admonishing my audience. Thank you for being here. But let me just say something. Before the Gulag Archipelago with the unfair, illegitimate treatment given to me by this platform where I was sent away for a week and then again in March, 2 weeks, the largest audience I had since then has never been over 73. Right now we have 150 plus people currently watching this stream. Why? Because the mother city is aflame. Cape Town is on fire and people are tuning in. So when people always make suggestions and say you should do good content and don't focus on the bad things, I cover all events. But nobody watches the stuff that's good. They only tune in for the gore and for the horror. I'm not attacking anybody on the stream here. I'm just sharing very quickly with you folks to understand that that's what drives. Now you know why, and this is a perfect example, why the news media is obsessed with reporting bad news. That's all they ever want to report. They don't focus on good news because people aren't interested. And the media has to make money. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to get the news and spread the word. So let's share what we do know. We do know that the fire started somewhere at the base of Table Mountain. We do know that the Rhodes Memorial Restaurant is burnt down. We do know that people lost their privately owned conveyances, their privately owned vehicles, which were burned up there because they couldn't get back to them. We do know the number of people were out hiking along the mountain and on trails, and we don't know the status of those people. We do know that the fire spread upwards and downwards. Whether that's attributed to the wind or it's attributed to something else will remain to be seen. We also know that apparently the UCT library has been lost, as well as many other structures and apparently some private homes. Mustart's Mill, a historic, wonderful site to visit, is destroyed. Now, I could probably restore it, but it won't be the original because the frame, the structure is still the stone structure. But so much has been lost. One firefighter has been reported injured. No other injuries other than that. Now, is this arson? That's a question that's been asked. We don't know. Very strange fire, very strange response by firefighters, but that is an outside view looking at footage and listening to eyewitnesses. That is not an accurate, cold assessment from people in the industry who know what they're talking about. So let's not jump to conclusions, but there are a lot of things to talk about here. As far as Courtney McBride saying it's not political, in fact it is, and I'll tell you why it's political in just a moment. So, are there just one helicopter? No, 3 helicopters reportedly involved in this activity. Also the point that everything is dry, it's a tinder, and that is a problem this time of the year, and that is not unusual for fires to break out on Tafelberg or in the region of Cape Town in the Western Cape when things are dry. So not unusual in that standpoint. So the response by firefighting services does appear to be something we're going to be taking a very close look at as we discover what has happened and not happened in Cape Town. Yeah, as far as it being political, let me help you with that one very quickly here. This is what appeared almost instantly within hours of the fire being up. And there's more. I'm just going to show you one. UCT students from someone called Zanakule said UCT students must assist the fire by adding petrol. Rhodes Memorial must burn to the ground, ashes to ashes. So, Courtney, when you say it's not political, whether this is a naturally occurring fire or it's an error, someone let a campfire get out of control or someone started on purpose or there's no lightning, but something, whatever the case is, whatever the proximate cause of the fire, it is political. It's very political. And this tweet is evidence of that. Right there. Hours after the fire started, the little flying monkeys, the little Wicked Witch of the West, all of their little minions are out there already spreading their hate all over Twitter. So yeah, it is political, Courtney. It is absolutely political. Even if it's just a naturally occurring event, it is absolutely political. So we're up to almost 200 people. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This is the largest audience I've had in a long time since the banishment to the Gulag Archipelago by YouTube. So thank you for tuning in. This wasn't clickbait. We have talked about the fire, and that's what we're here to talk about today, not other events. But I do want to show you something else. This is an event that took place in Lichtenberg after folks asked for security, protect this monument to Couste de la Rey. This is what happened. General Couste de la Rey's monument in Lichtenberg has been vandalized. Now, let's make a point about this. Couste de la Rey, I don't know who did this, but we can surmise that it was probably some black nationalist who did it. Couste de la Rey didn't persecute and oppress black Africans. He allied with black Africans, and he had black Africans working for him, and he allied with them during the Boer War. Couste de la Rey fought against British domination and tyranny and subjugation. Couste de la Rey is a hero of South Africa. Not a hero for the Afrikaners, not a hero for white South Africans. He's a hero for South Africans fighting oppression. To destroy his monument shows wholesale ignorance of his role in history and outright racism and bigotry against Afrikaners. This is cultural genocide of the first order. Cultural genocide. For the flying monkeys who can't make the distinction between applying the term genocide to rural insecurity in South Africa and applying to the actual genocide taking place with the destruction of Afrikaans-speaking history and culture by a race-driven, mad political establishment, make it very clear. It's cultural genocide. The elimination of Afrikaans as the median of language at Stellenbosch University is disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. The land at Stellenbosch was only made available for the university so that the language would be the medium of instruction into perpetuity. That's a breach of contract. Yes, I know the person who donated the land has been dead for 300 plus years, but that is a breach of contract. Stellenbosch University should be admonished for its shameful and disgusting, vile behavior. Students whined who came there knowing it was an Afrikaans university, complaining that they had to study in Afrikaans. They were being oppressed. No, go to UCT, go to UNISA, go elsewhere. There are plenty of universities for you in your language. If you're unhappy, there is a university in Xhosa or one in Zulu or one in Venda. Then tell the ANC to stop stealing money and buying weapons that are unnecessary and building mansions for a corrupt and illiterate president. And stop stealing money from oil and stop stealing money from travel. Just stop stealing. Period. And use that money to build universities that are language specific for people who want to be educated at a tertiary level in their first language. There's nothing wrong with that. But undermining the cultural heritage of Afrikaans speaking people, who, by the way, are white, colored, black, and Asian first language Afrikaans speakers. Educate yourselves, you flying monkey jackasses. Learn about South Africa, which has over 300,000 first language speaking black South Africans, nearly 200,000 first language Afrikaans speaking Asian South Africans, and over 8 to 9 million mixed race colored South Africans whose first language is Afrikaans, as well as 2.8 million white South Africans, a distinct minority in that group. You flying monkey, racist, race hustling, sad sack, disgusting trolls. So there you go. There you go. A little bit of a rant there. A little bit of a rant. A little bit of a rant. Let me catch up in the chat here very quickly. As the next Cape Townian now living in KZN, and my prayers go out to all those affected, says David Branquinho. David, I'm sure that people appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. Hendo's here. He's back. Heartbreaking to watch, says Jacques Labuscagni, to watch so many history going national. Indeed, 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 indeed. Larsalis saw the fire come over the hill towards Rhodes Memorial. Yep. What else we got here? Swartcott says there are guys that also stay and debark trees that above the memorial. I'm not familiar with that. I suppose it's possible. Yes, Pink Pastel Roses, there was an explosion. My summation is, my analysis is it's likely that that was near the Rhodes Memorial Restaurant. And those may have been natural gas tanks where they store gas and or for cooking and that sort of thing that exploded. That was after the fire was long underway. That sort of thing, when there's a built-up area and structures, explosions is not uncommon when there's a fire because gas mains get hit and things like that, and fuel stores, things like that. So it's not unusual. That could even have been a vehicle, but unlikely a vehicle made that large an explosion. So yeah, there was an explosion. Brett, we don't know what started the fire. That building is the Special Collections Library, says Lars Salas. Well, there you go. I do hope that that people had an opportunity to evacuate that stuff. It was daylight hours, but I have a feeling that nobody thought to rush up there and try to save precious artifacts. Yep. Yeah, unbelievable. Okay, where am I at here? Cameron says, please hit the like button. Yeah, please smash the like button, folks. 188 people currently watching. 82. That's it. You took the time to come in here. Smash the like button. It would be much appreciated, folks. Would be much appreciated. Jonathan DT says, fees must fall. I don't know. Are you making a statement or are you making an accusation? Not really sure what that means. Not really sure what that means. Dean Dart says negative narratives drive views. They do. They absolutely do. Let's see what else. Jax says such sad news. More of our heritage going up in smoke. Indeed. Courtney thinks it's climate change. No, it's not climate change. I've already debunked this story when the fairy tale about climate change was responsible for Cape Town's water shortage a couple years ago. Utter tissue of lies. The misuse and misappropriation and lack of infrastructural investment by the National Party, the African National Congress, and then the Democratic Alliance at the national, the provincial, and the local level is what resulted in the crisis in Cape Town. Not to mention the fact that a century ago, there were 1 million people in Cape Town. Today, there's 5 million people in the greater Cape Town area, if you go out beyond the boundaries of the city. All sucking on water, all washing cars, all watering lawns, all showering, all cooking, all using it for industrial purposes. Swimming pools as well. There you go. What else we got here? What else we got here? A true scholar, Defender Def says, who's that? Are you talking to me? If you are, thank you. Yeah, Brew wants you to define. Brett just gave a super chat for $10. I'm going to get to that in a second. The Brew just said, please define climate change. I think that's fair. Hey, we're over 200 people currently tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I will, again, show that entire 6-minute video at some point because we've had people flood into the stream since then. For those of you who've seen it, please don't leave the stream. I'll come back and discuss things afterwards. I'm going to do that probably about the half-hour mark. Show that video again. It's about 6 minutes long. I ask that you stick with me for that 6 minutes. Use it as a chance to go to the loo, get something to drink, come back. I'm going to show it again for the people that missed it at the beginning of the show, at the beginning of the program, I should say. So we're going to do it. The Cape biome requires fire to function, and the vegetation actually promotes fire. Yes, just like the giant sequoia trees in California, which the liberal libtards disrupted nature's role and stopped forest fires for decades, creating a tinderbox and also harming, because the giant sequoias and the redwoods cannot propagate new trees unless these big conflagrations come along, burn all the tinder on the bottom, clear all the rubbish away, burn the branches up to a certain height, and open the cones, which are very hard, only open under extreme heat and pressure. They open them up, the seeds come out, and then they go in the ground, which is now richly fertilized with nitrogen from the fire. The brush is cleared away so they get sunshine, and they survive. Otherwise, these forests die. But the libtards and all their idiocy interfered in that natural cycle in California and nearly cost us the sequoias and the redwood forest out there because they're morons, because they think they know better. They know everything. Decades before the religion of climate change came along, we had these idiots out there altering the environment and attacking people who did sustainable lumbering. Yeah, anyway. So humans are very arrogant, always thinking they know everything about nature. Lars Solis is correct. That's right. The Fynbos and the Cape biome requires fire to renew and refresh. But it doesn't require the UCT library to be torched. Yeah, the Fynbos is made to burn. That's right. Brett says Rhodes wasn't a good man before free education. Well, whether Rhodes was a good man or not really isn't germane. It's not part of the conversation. And Rhodes has been dead for a century, and he came from a different era. Most people, by today's standards, weren't good people in that time frame, whether they're powerful or not. That's right. Dean Dart says, Die Löwe van die Noorde. No, it's the Leon van die West-Transvaal. Die Leon van West-Transvaal. That's who that is, Dion. That's right. Coups de l'arrêt. Disgusting behavior from those who know flying fudge about real history and heritage. Agreed. People need to put their money in their free education where their mouth is in regards to the roads must fall. Oh, you are on that thing, Brett. You're on that. Fynbos says smoke receptors detect if there's fire elsewhere. The effect of smoke on Fynbos is to stimulate growth and open up so it can burn. Yep. The quicker we accept that things are too late for us, maybe the quicker we'll start to stand together, Peter Dutoy says. Well, yeah. I assume you're talking about minorities in South Africa, but I think all South Africans need to stand together because you have a predatory government that is race hustling, and that's unrelated to this, hopefully. But yeah, that's a good point. It's disgusting. Coups de l'arrêt was fighting for everyone. The morons who know nothing is unacceptable. Exactly, Mel. Exactly. He fought alongside black Africans. He fought with black South Africans against English oppression. He is a hero of South Africa. To damage that. And that's why when Bok van Blerk's De La Rey came out and all these black nationalists lost their frickin' minds. Oh my God, they're calling for apartheid. Okay, excuse me. Apartheid was a political system implemented after 1948. Yes, when Verwoerd came in power. Remember that? Yeah. De La Rey died in the First World War when he was shot by the police in his car because his driver refused to stop. And he died. De La Rey. That's right, Coups de l'arrêt, a hero of South Africa for all races and all South African citizens. The Kruger statue should stay as well. Why not? Anyway, let's see where we're at here. Francis Platt says, Chris Paul Kruger Wyatt. Well, I think that's because of the beard, I take it. I am wearing a Stormers jersey in solidarity with the Mother City today, folks. This is this past season's jersey, home jersey. Hello, Chris. I live in Cape Town, but quite far from UCT, but sad to see history loss. Agreed. Thankfully, so far, there have been no fatalities, but don't hold your breath on that, folks. There were people out hiking on the mountain, and so there may have been people, unfortunately, lost. We don't know. I hope not. I really hope that no one's been lost. We had at least one firefighter injured who was burned. Hopefully, that is the extent of the injuries, and hopefully this fire is put under control. Courtney says, I'll be attending my first ever Major League Rugby match, the Warriors versus the SaberCats. Well, cool. I postponed. I was supposed to go to New York today to cover Major League Rugby United New York versus Old Glory DC. There's no spectators, but those who know people in the club were given a limited invitation to come there as guest of the club. I was one of them, and I intended to go there and then write a story about it. And it would have been very good for me because build more contacts in Major League Rugby. But unfortunately, I decided not to go because this was more important to me, this breaking fire in Cape Town, because the news coverage was ludicrous. I looked at News 24. All they did was take a couple videos, put them together. They offered no analysis, and what they offered was stupid. It wasn't particularly useful. So I started building videos, which people are now watching, and I decided to do this live stream to focus on events unfolding in the Mother City in the Western Cape. Well, good luck there, Courtney. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It ought to be a lot of fun. The Warriors are awesome. I have a Warriors jersey, but not a Houston SaberCats jersey. All right. Dean Dart says, what's this? Yanni Murray. Whoa. My chat got stuck there. I catch back up here. Where are we at here? Let me get back to where we're at. Smell a rat with the... Okay. Whoa, I'm way behind. Sorry about that, folks. Let me catch up here. Okay. Courtney's going to be there. Yanni Murray, who founded the University of Stellenbosch, died just over 100 years ago. Yep. Please stop this climate junk. I agreed. Gerhard Bielefeld. Wow. Long time, brother. Long time. Where have you been hiding? Hopefully you're back. Kim Labaskakni says, hello, Chris. So sad, so well said. Well, thank you so much for that. Thanks, Chris. Your rant echoed my heart, says Erica. African Ninja, I live here. Where do you live, African Ninja? Do you live in Cape Town? Best hiking after a fire. Many plants exist as ground huggers. You never see them once the shrubs are established because they don't get enough light. Yep. We have a troll. African Ninja says he knows everything. Ask me. Well, what do you want to know, African Ninja? Kitchen fire. Okay. All right. Well. All right. Let's leave African Ninja there because I'm not sure it's trolling, but it looks like trolling. Dean says Yanni Murray left funds and grounds upon which much of the university has been built upon was left in his testament after his death. Yes, Dean. I embellished. I said 300 years ago. No, he didn't die 300 years ago. Thank you for the correction. It was sarcasm on my part. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you for setting the record straight. I wasn't trying to mislead people. I was being sarcastic. You know, it's like when Jan van Riebeck came and imprisoned and persecuted black Africans 2,000 years ago. It was in that vein that I was doing it, Dean. But thank you for the correction. You are correct. Thank you for that. Moonchild says, thanks for your live updates. Do you know what could spark gas canisters to explode? Pressure and heat. A combination of pressure and heat could cause that. Now, the container is probably not what exploded, although that could happen if there's enough in there. What likely happened is that the nozzle is where you get it. That thing fractures under the pressure, snaps, and that stuff comes out and explodes, and then you can blow the whole container up. So, yeah, I wish Paulie were here. Paulie's a firefighter. He's in Cape Town right now with his wife. He might actually be out involved in this firefighting right now, as far as we know. So thoughts and prayers to Paulie7, who's a loyal viewer of the channel and also now a loyal listener to Chris Wyatt Africa, All Things Africa podcast on Podbean. So, Paulie, I hope he's well. He's in Cape Town. Prayers for Cape Town, all the UCT students. Yes, all UCT students were evacuated by the university. Absolutely. Distractions. Yeah, that's possible. Still going, says African. The fire's still going. Yes, it's still going. It's not out. And Olaf says he hopes he gets out before it goes to Kirstenbus. Okay, Jonathan DT, accusation. It was an accusation. Okay. All right. What did he say before? I remember Jonathan said something and asked was an accusation or a statement. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for clarifying, but it's been so long since I saw that. Not really sure what the deal was there. Very sad day for UCT infrastructure and for Cape Town itself. Not enough water points for fire trucks, for hoses. Actually, see now, I don't think African Ninja is actually trolling. African Ninja is actually trying to contribute to the conversation. So I'm glad we didn't send him off. No racism involved. Well, perhaps not in the fire, but this is certainly racist. Here you go. UCT students must assist the fire by adding, but can't even spell. Thank you, Zono Kule. UCT students must assist the fire purchasing petrol, but I think he means to say buy, B-Y. Anyway, Rose Moore must burn to the ground, ashes, ashes. Yeah, look at that. That is vile. That is racist. No doubt about it. On the money about the water crisis. Yes. No, I was spot on, Dean. I did an analysis of this. I put it on LinkedIn because I wasn't doing videos then. I was still serving intelligence officer on active duty, so it was inappropriate for me and not allowed for me to be doing things like that. I have done discussions about the Cape Town water crisis and debunked the lies. There is plenty of reservoir water if the reservoirs are managed properly, if the leaky pipes in which 30% or more of the water never reaches those who actually need it, who actually consume it. If the city had a brown water reuse program to take wastewater and filter it so it can be used to water lawns and for purposes like that, and if you would stop the tragedy of the commons in the Cape Flats, in which an open tap sits there, which people leave running for 24 hours a day in many cases, and people abuse the source and made people actually pay for their water, even the poor, just charge them very little, but make them pay so that they don't waste. Human nature is not to use things efficiently if you don't have to. And someone else is paying for the water, it's there. So the entire Cape Town water thing and climate change was a total red herring lie, sack of cock story told by leftists in South Africa and outside South Africa who don't know their rectum from a hole in the ground. There you go. I predicted this crisis, this water crisis in Cape Town for years. You can't go from 1 million people in a fragile ecological environment with little rainfall, not insufficient rainfall, I should say, to over 5 million people in the same area, plus industrial use, plus all these other uses, and not have a water crisis, even if you build reservoirs. And especially if you allow the system to become dilapidated by the National Party, the ANC, the Democratic Alliance, all have failed Cape Townians, all have failed Cape Flat residents, all have failed people in the Western Cape. They've all let you down. Screw the politicians, vote these jackals out of office. That's what you need to do. And as far as the DA in the Western Cape, it's time to put up or shut up. You get one more chance in municipal elections 2021. Start fixing that city and stop whining about the ANC controlling your budget and this, that, and the other. Find creative ways to work with private industry and public-private partnerships to deliver services, security, infrastructure to Cape Townians. And I'll be running for office. No, just kidding. Anyway, let me get back here. So Brett says, keep up the good work. Thanks for reporting this fire. You reported this before SABC's YouTube channel. Yeah, of course I did. And I sacrificed my trip for rugby, which is fine. This is important news. People need to know about it. Miss Tukela's back. Good to see you again. Long time. Great educational institution has been brought so much to people of South Africa, to the world. All of Herbert Baker drawings will be lost. Oh, my goodness. That would be horrible. Thank you for sharing that, Neil. African Ninja says, we have enough water. Indeed. You just have to use it properly. Greg Smuts says, I smell a rat. I could be wrong. Let's wait for investigation. Greg, my nose smells something odorous too, but no accusations, no claims of anything until we know some information. Other than I'm a little bit concerned about the firefighting response, but I'll talk to firefighters and see what they think. Fees need to be increased now to cover, to cover the damages. Yeah, okay. Strange, apparently there was more than one fire. Yeah, it appears. You see that fires were higher up on Table Mountain. Hundreds of meters above, there were suddenly fires. Now, that's not impossible. That could have been, that could have been tinder that was blown up there and started a fire. But, man, those fires aren't going to be put out up there. You just have to hope nature takes care of it. Too far away. Anyway, folks, what I'm going to do now, I'm behind the chat. Let me catch up a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and play that 6 minutes of video for the people who came up later. There are 241 people. When I played the 6-minute video of the events in Cape Town today, a compilation of Twitter feeds and also still images that people put out. And thanks to Liz Lombard, who was in jeopardy from the fire. She fled. You'll hear her talk about fleeing the fire. And then she found out that her vehicle apparently was burned. She lost her vehicle at the Rhodes Memorial Restaurant. She lost it there. She was out hiking. And to AJG Molyneux, whose coverage of the fire at the UCT library is in here. So the others I can't attribute because they've been shared multiple times. I don't know who provided them, but thanks to both of those folks who I now follow on Twitter, and these are their videos that are part of it. So this is a 6-minute video to show you what's been happening today in Cape Town. Please don't run. If you're just tuning in, this is for you. If you've missed it at the top of the program, we're showing it again. If you've been with the program since the top, please stick with us. We'll have more insightful analysis and conversation, plus your comments being incorporated into the program after the 6 minutes. It'll give you a chance to go to the loo, get a little sandwich, take a break, stretch your legs for 6 minutes. This is for the people who weren't here. Here you go, folks. This is what is happening in the Mother City today. It is horrific, and I'll be back shortly.
As you don't understand how fast this is going. It's with me in seconds. It's right on me. Here it is, here it is, here it is. I'm gonna have to bolt. I'm gonna have to go. The heat's hitting me, the smoke's hitting me. It's here. It's up there. It's there, it's there. Can you hear it? There it is. This is insane. Jesus, this is hot. This is hot. I better go. There's a helicopter coming to drop water.
I'm trying to outrun the fire. I think my car just got burnt at Rhodes Memorial. It's spreading like wildfire.
Oh my God.
Not yet by the blocks.
Never go. Look, as it
But
going
it's
there.
gonna go spreading
It's
very
there
quickly.
very quickly. It was dry today. But it started low, no? It started low. Must put on your radio and listen.
This is gonna be a whole day, whole night thing.
Yeah.
To-
But what is that now? The helicopter?
You can see these vehicles on top here along the path. That's
yeah.
probably the firemen.
And you know that you come from Tafelberg, eh? With that road. Right around.
Whoa, Dad, look at the fire. It's huge. It's yellow.
Alright, sorry, I saw there was a sound issue on my live recording. I'm trying to fix that problem. But basically you can see here I'm at the jamming steps at UCT campus. There's quite a large firefighter presence and metro police and law enforcement are here. And this is where the helicopter is really focusing right now. It's this building that's on fire. You see at the top there, side. The rest of this place is also and yes, I'll be bringing you more as it goes on.
Welcome back to Chris Wyatt Africa, folks. If you've not been here before, please become a subscriber. Smash that subscription button, which is right down there at the bottom of the screen. You'll find cogent coverage and analysis of South Africa, Southern Africa, and across the continent of Africa, right here in Chris Wyatt Africa, where we've been fighting shadow banning. But thank you so much if you're new. Please become a subscriber, although I suspect most people here have been subscribers already or have been for a long time. But if you're new, please check us out. What you've just watched is a 6+ minute compilation of still and video footage from events in the mother city of Cape Town today, where a massive fire broke out on Table Mountain and spread across the city, reaching the UCT University of Cape Town campus, where it burned a historic library there, likely destroying invaluable manuscripts and texts that have been there for a very long time. Quite unfortunate. At this hour, the last information we had available from public information from the authorities was that one firefighter had been injured and burned in the blaze, but no fatalities as of yet. But bear in mind that many people are out hiking during the daytime along Table Mountain and on Table Mountain, and we may have lost people and not know about it. We have seen significant property damage. The Rhodes Memorial Restaurant is destroyed on Table Mountain, and and in addition to that, we've also seen that the UCT library is destroyed. Mostart's Mill, a famous historic mill, has been destroyed as well. Now, as far as that, Greg Smuts said something about it's across the other side of Duval's the road. Yes, absolutely. And it's strange. Not so much, Greg. The thing about fire is it's very capricious, and it takes very little wind to pick up some tinder that's aflame and leap a fire a great distance. The fire can leap hundreds of feet, a couple hundred meters easily with the right winds and start, especially when things are dry like they are in the Western Province right now. So it's entirely possible that that is as a result of the fire leaping across the road. Very possible. Also, we saw fire at higher elevations on Table Mountain, well above where the fire had been burning for hours. Those are most likely a result of the tinder being lifted up, landing and lighting, and setting that alight. So there you go. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate those who've popped in here. Wow, did people just tune in for that 6 minutes and disappear? We had 330, now we're down to 280. That was quick. Anyway, let me catch up on the chat here very quickly. Tercia, who's back again, good to see you again, Tercia, said the water crisis is not the problem at the moment. All the dams are full. The problem is the central government control over local governance. Yes, my discussion about Tercia was about the fraudulent claims that it was global climate change that caused the crisis in Cape Town. It was malgovernance that caused it. Let's see what else we got here. Brett's going to go see New Orleans Gold, but he's not going to go. He's going to watch on TV. Yeah, and we catch up. Johan Eisel's here. Good to see you again, Johan. We started with Giselle's Fittlin's Mensa at the top of the program. The restaurant is at the back, but the memorial has seen several fires in its life. My father is an old age home in Rondebosch, but thankfully they're all okay except for smoke that's coming in. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Moonchild. Ms. Tukutela says we cannot make accusations until we know more about the facts. Indeed, and you'll see that I haven't, Ms. Tukutela. I have not made accusations. I have laid it out pretty accurately, as I always do. And there you have it. But thank you for repeating that point because it's important to note that. Cameron asked people to like the video. Yeah, please smash the like, folks. We got 290 plus people, 171 likes. Why not do it? Wendy Stewart's here waiting for me to run. All right, well, thanks for that. The fire spread very fast, says Tercy. A possibility of some criminal behavior seems a possibility. Well, it's not beyond the realm of possibility or the realm of thought, but we have no information on that at the moment. What we do know is it's a very strange response to it. And I'm going to get to the air crews in just a moment here because people mention that as well. Michelle says, my parents live on Lion's Head. I was caught in a 94 fire. It flew down the mountain in a split second. Indeed, it does. Indeed, it does. Ethan Butts is here. What's that? Are you trolling? Okay, so are my moderators paying attention? Let's watch for Ethan Butts there, who appears to be trolling. And if he continues to just take him out. Courtney says, remember reading about when Christians burned the library in Alexandria. Very sad when libraries were destroyed. Christians burned the library in Alexandria? I don't think so. Let's see. Well, which time are you talking about? Because it's been burned many times. When it was destroyed, or are you talking about the multiple fires? Yep. So it was attributed to Caesar in 48 BC. Then there was a more famous fire. So what do you mean Christians burned the fire? You need to be more specific. If you're not a subscriber, please feel free to become one. I think there's internet breakage jumping up and down the whole time. Yeah, I think that might be part of it. Variable visions there again. Irrelevant. Oh, you're talking about Senior Van Hose. 396 BC. Thank you, Courtney, for sharing that. 396 BC fire. That's one of many. All right, cool beans. Well, thank you for sharing that, Courtney. Appreciate you clarifying that. Fire can travel 200 kilometers per hour underground. Huh? Underground. Any updates on the current state of the university and the fire? It looked like there was still a bunch of smoke coming from the campus. Macho Man, I've now been on the air for almost an hour, so I've been able to check for updates. An hour ago, the fire appeared to be contained at UCT, but we hadn't heard any official word from authorities. So there you go. Sarek Smirelsons is there. Okay. Welcome to you. Anyway, so Stefan Mostard is here. Will everything be rebuilt? I wouldn't hold my breath on that. What are you going to use to build it with? Money? There's no money. The ANC has stolen or pilfered everything or destroyed the economy. So there's very little money to rebuild this stuff. It'll have to be done with private money. And then what good is that if it's just like the Coos de la Rey Memorial, which is destroyed by vandals who know nothing about South Africa's history? Coos de la Rey, a hero of South Africa, a hero to white, brown, and black South Africans, a man who fought against British oppression and subjugation alongside black South Africans to get independence for his Transvaal. Die Leon van de West-Transvaal. This is Coos de la Rey. This was his stone in Lichtenberg. It has been vandalized. This is vile, disgusting, racist behavior, and it needs to be stamped out. But it won't be by the race merchants of the African National Congress. There will likely be no action taken on this. They asked for this to be protected because there were threats against it, and look what happened. Within hours of it being threatened, it was destroyed. So there you have it. I'm trying to shut something off here very quickly, folks. There it is. That's what I'm trying to shut off. Okay. So it's sad that a lady's car burning up. Yeah, you said that already, Courtney. I saw the cheeky stuff. I mean, the lady's car is lost, and you want to be a smart ass and say, oh, she should buy a useless, earth-destroying, environmentally dangerous electrical vehicle. Yeah. And the ones that use rare earth elements in which entire mountains are destroyed, water tables are disrupted, streams and creeks and rivers polluted, so that you can have your little electric vehicles and feel good about how woke you are, not understanding that most electricity around the world is generated by burning coal, which produces more carbon. And not to mention the vehicles are unreliable, the batteries are dangerous and toxic, and they're deadly. So I don't get the leftist love affair with this climate religion and with this environmental religion. You don't know what you're talking about. Anyway. Yeah, Liam McKinney. Apparently the cause of the fire was some vacated vagrant fire on the mountain that spread. Liam, that's entirely likely. I haven't seen any updates on that. I've already accepted that as a possible cause of it. Either vagrants or someone who's camping and didn't put a fire out properly. It's not a good time to be burning things in around Table Mountain. Tafelberg, it's very dry and a lot of tinder there right now. What else we got here? Truth Seekers, so delivery satellite. Irony is communist institution burning down, whether by accident or intent. Yeah, well, it wasn't always a communist institution. So, still some flames visible on the top of Minor Peak, maybe Devil's Peak, some small fires speckled. 2 clusters of flame around the Rhodes Memorial area. Thank you for updating us, Lars Solis, who's in Cape Town, who can give us these visual clues to let us know what's going on. Appreciate the updates, Lars Solis. Here's the thing, though. A few little sparks here and there. The fire can come roaring back to life. So people cannot take a breath or rest easy until this thing is declared extinguished. Deval Kutze, welcome to you. Michael Grimes, I was close to a bushfire years ago in Melkbostrand, north of Cape Town. I did not realize the speed these fires move at bushes and trees 10 meters in front of the fire explode. Indeed. Thank you, Michael, for attesting to that. I have been around fires and have fought fires in the past, although I've never been a formal firefighter. I've just helped out. Put the fires out. And fire moves at a pace you can't imagine. That's why we lose firefighters every year. Professionals, people with decades of experience, and the wind changes on them and it picks up. So we hold off the accusations and the claims about what has or has not happened in the mother city, other than knowing what has been lost so far, until we get an actual investigation, legitimate investigation. But it is very distressing what's happened. Horrific events taking place in the mother city of Cape Town. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate everybody being here. Lars Salas sent you a photo of the origin of the fire. A photo was taken prior to the time of the explosion of Rhodes. All right. 18,650 batteries are literally bombs people carry in your laptops. Andre Jacobs is back from China. Where the hell have you been, Andre? I haven't seen you since before I was banished to the gulag the first time. The irony is that the EV batteries could spontaneously start a fire. That's true. Yeah, maybe the lady's car started the fire. I doubt that. Wind is the worst for this scenario. Exactly. Sparks fly. Look what started the windmill fire. Exactly right. That's when Greg Smuts asked, it was odd that it's because it's on the other side of Davos that it would actually be on fire given that distance. Not at all. Those sparks and that tinder could easily be lifted up and carried across and not extinguished. And even if they were extinguished, they would be warm enough to reignite because the ember's inside. Fire is a dangerous thing. It's not something people should play with. Anyway, top of the mountain fire is very much a concern. If it reaches the Queen Protea Forest between Devils and Minor Peak, the fire will rage over the other side. Yeah, and then the catastrophic damage down there. Exactly right. Now, let me say a word about the crews. I think the Brew and a couple other people mentioned the air crews. Hats off to these air crews. You folks, if you've never been in aviation, is Tion here? If you've never been in aviation, you have no idea how dangerous flying into and over a fire is. You have updrafts, you have temperature change, you have temperature inversion taking place, you have gusts that just come out of where it can twist a helicopter around, can twist an aircraft around. You have surges of obscurance that block your view. And flying next to Table Mountain, trying to put out a fire, and obscuration comes up, you can't see, you could easily fly into the mountain and make a false turn. Very dangerous. These people put their lives at risk in an incredible fashion. It looks cool on TV. Look at them flying with a helicopter, dropping the little bucket full of flame retardant or water on the fire. Isn't that cool? I'd love to have that job. That is an incredibly dangerous job. Those people are heroes for the effort they put out to stop these fires. I have worked extensively with firefighting crews. We used the equipment in the U.S. military. The National Guard have aircraft equipped with the containers in the back so they can do the airdrop. And we were helping deliver those to Botswana, which is a very dry country, which has forest fires frequently. And they wanted that equipment to put on their C-130s so they could be equipped to fight forest fires the same way that we do it here in many of the National Guard units in the States. So I have experience with that as well. And those people are real heroes, folks. They deserve our praise. Absolutely. Is Paulie here? Paulie, hey, Paulie, can you call in? Paulie, can we get you to call in? If you can call in, I will turn on a Zoom session and send you a link, Paulie, if you're willing to call in. I want to make sure that we get accurate information. Paulie, of course, is a professional firefighter. And if I've misspoken, I'd appreciate that he feel free to correct me on that. But can we get him in? Julia Tube, did anyone see the explosion? I saw the explosion, Julia. It's in the video I just showed you. I saw the video. Someone captured the explosion. Botswana does not have forest. Deborah, Botswana does have forests. They, in fact, do. The Okavango Delta, the Kasane region, and even in the scrub out in the low bush, there is forest fires. Yes, they very much have forest fires. I've lived in Botswana. I've traveled all over it. It does have forests. Yep. It's not most likely the wind direction changes now towards the sea as it's dark. Lori, I don't know the prevailing winds at this hour in Cape Town, so I can't answer that. I'm in the Uber on the way home, possibly later. Okay, yeah, Paulie, maybe in 20 minutes. If you all stick with me, if Paulie gets back there in 20 minutes, we'll get Paulie on and we'll have a conversation. And then after that, we'll see what he says. Paulie is a professional firefighter. He happens to be in Cape Town with his wife right now. That's not where he lives. And this fire is broken out. So maybe we'll get Paulie to come on and share some insights with us once he gets back. Hopefully the Uber doesn't take too long. Anyway, the Brew says the guys that were flying were old Kriegers. No one was even remotely capable in the current. Yeah, you're probably right about that. They're probably hired, Brew. That's correct. Hazel says hello to Hendel. Hey, Hazel. Hello to you. Julia Tube says I'm subscribed. Well, thank you, Julia, for subscribing. Please, if you're new, please subscribe to Chris Wyatt Africa. We've suffered under attacks by trolls and racists and others who attacked this channel and made fraudulent claims about it, all of which were refuted. And I have the video evidence to prove that what they say are pure lies. In fact, we had another troll come on today about my video about Zimbabwe on their 41st anniversary of independence. And he said that I claimed that white people arrived in Africa before blacks. Well, that's asinine. I actually believe in the concept of evolution. And I've never made that claim. I made a statement about Zimbabwe that there are some white Zimbabweans whose ancestors arrived in Zimbabwe before some of the Africans who are there today, specifically those who were late arrivals from the Ndebele and for some other groups. They actually arrived before them or simultaneously with them. Brett just gave a super chat. You're selfless giving up rugby trip for this. Well, to be fair, Brett, it was 6 hours of driving, but I would do it for the sport to promote the game. And actually, I'm enjoying the interaction with the audience here. It'd be great to get Paulie on. Colleen Rue is back. Your reporting is outstanding. Thank you so much. Hope the southeaster doesn't start blowing. Oh, yeah, the wind, the southeaster. Let's hope not. Yeah, Michelle saying, look at this. We got all these on-the-ground reporters helping Phyllis. Michelle says no wind at the moment. That's good news. Hopefully a calm night there so they can go around and make sure the fire is actually out. Hopefully they're on the ground. So Daryl Glosson says, this is Finboss and very dry, so it's Tinderbox. Yeah, Daryl, we've already covered that. You've tuned in late. Thank you for joining us. We've discussed that. We've also showed the 6+ minutes of combined footage that I put together. I'll show that again shortly. Not at the moment. We're going to wait a little bit longer to show that again, but we'll do it. Gert Janssen van Rensburg. Chris Wyatt was involved in fighting a Grasveld fire. Oh, you were involved at the Army Battle School. The speed of spread was unbelievable. It is. especially when conditions are dry and especially when there's any wind. And the worst is wind that changes direction. That is horrifying. It's very frightening if you fight fires, if you're a firefighter, to be caught in that conflagration as temperatures shift and wind shift. And the temperature plays a role too. The hotter a fire gets, the more carnage it can cause, not because of the heat necessarily, it can do that, but because of the expansion of air, pushing air out, which is pushing and increasing the wind. Yep, so we'll get, hopefully we'll get Paulie on here shortly. Chris, could this fire spread to other African nations? Brett, you're being sarcastic. Special collection library. Yeah, more like a museum. Right, which is a loss of patrimony for South Africans. Oh, Paulie just touched down in Joburg, so he's back from Cape Town. Okay, cool. All right. By the way, so Peter DeToy says this is a good place to wear a mask. Well, I was wearing a mask when we started this program an hour ago. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. Is that the right way? I did have a mask on. I had a mask on because of the obscurant coming from Cape Town. Just kidding. So, yeah, I was wearing a mask an hour ago. And I'm wearing a Stormers jersey in solidarity with the Mother City. It's from this season's Stormers jersey. One of my favorites. Really nice one. Yeah, okay. So if you hang in there, folks, Paulie, who is a firefighter, will be calling us in once he gets home. So once he gets there, we'll switch over to the Zoom session. And that's when I'll play the 6 minutes, and then Paulie can help comment on the video, and then we'll come back up with the Zoom session. So stick with us. Don't leave, folks. There's more to come here on Chris Wyatt Africa. We give you live updates, and we give you analysis of what's been happening in the Mother City today, the 18th of April, 2021, a day which many people are never going to forget. So let's see. What I missed here. Okay, I already got that. Brett gave a super chat. He said it was selfless. Very kind of him. Michelle says pine trees have resin which continues to smolder. If it's not put out properly, the fire can flare up again. That is true. An abandoned factory burnt down here where I am. That was the worst fire I've ever seen. That's nothing compared to this. Yeah, no, this is bad. Hazel says the fire was really intense as we were close to the mountain. My heart goes out to all those fighting the fire. Still burning, but looks under control. Hazel, how close were you? And what was going on? Leanne Sang is here. This is disastrous. Says the Baxter Theater been affected by the fire. I don't know the answer on that one, Leanne. It's a good question, though. Whenever I subscribe, you unsubscribe me. I know that many of my opinions are different than yours, but I don't think that justifies not having me on. Well, Courtney, okay, I've never unsubscribed you. What the hell are you talking about? Now you're just trolling. Okay, once again, for those who are unaware of this, I have no control over your subscription. I don't even know if you've subscribed to me. You come in here, I don't know if you're a subscriber or you're just somebody who's popped in and joined the chat, because you don't have to be a subscriber to contribute to the chat. You just have to have a YouTube account. YouTube doesn't disclose to me. Courtney, I've never unsubscribed you. I lack the capacity to do that. I have never unsubscribed a single person. And if I could unsubscribe a person, I never would. What you're talking about, the only action I can control is I can block you on the channel. You've never been blocked on this channel, Courtney. Here you are coming in. So I don't think that justifies not having me on. I had you on. So I'm beginning to wonder this is actually Courtney or somebody who's cloned Courtney's account, because Courtney's been on the program before when he was in Hawaii. So I don't know what's going on here. But Courtney, that's just utter nonsense. YouTube steals my subscribers every day. They take them away. I don't want to get into a whole YouTube whining session right now. We're not going to do that. But if people don't know by now that YouTube doesn't play fair and you're blaming the content creator, I have no control over your subscription. Whether you subscribe or unsubscribe is not in my control at all. That's a fact. Ask other content creators. Ask YouTube. Send them an email. Ask them why you were unsubscribed. That's on you, Courtney, not on me. I can't control. I don't even know whether you're subscribed or not. All I know is my subscriber count, and that's it. That's all I have control over. If you have any questions about solar power, watch Planet of the Humans Amazing by Michael Moore. Michael Moore. He's a useless propagandist, so I don't need to watch that movie. I already know that. Why does it look like California? Well, Kim, because it's Mediterranean climate. Southern California is a Mediterranean climate. The Western Cape is a Mediterranean climate. So there you go. Exact same reasons. Timer set at 15 minutes. What's that for? Apologies, Chris. Botswana does have hardwood forest. Yeah, I don't know why you said that, Deborah. I thought maybe someone was hijacking your account. They do have forest, yeah. It's just not a forested country, but they have forest. They have forest in the Tule Block. They have forest in Kasane. They have forest in the Okavango. I've been in the forest. They're not like the forest in Brazil. They're not like the forest in the Congo. They're not like the forest in Pennsylvania, but they are forests. Anyway, all right, so where are we at here now? Catch back up, and we'll see if we get, Crimea River. Deborah Labuscockney puts it out there. Students UCT will now demand free housing. Well, I'm sure they'll demand a lot of things. Leanne Sang says, I heard the musical facility behind the Baxter was very close to the fire. All right, cool. Not cool that it's very close. Cool for the update. Thank you for the update. The fire is above the M3. The Baxter is below. No fire there. Else a lot of buildings would have burned. Someone know how the fire started? Stefan Mostart, we don't know. There's a lot of speculation. People want to blame it on this, that, and the other. We do not know. What we do know is at this time of year, conditions are very dry. Fire spread very rapidly. They're very dangerous. And we know that this fire did spread very rapidly based on multiple accounts and information we've got there. So anyway, it was a vagrant's fire that we reignited is what Emil is saying. That's being reported now, but I don't have confirmation of that from authorities. And I think we'll find out more. But a lot of people have questions about why the fire keeps appearing in multiple places. And there's many legitimate, plausible reasons why that could occur. But whatever the case is, whatever happened, there's a fire. But this is genuine. This is the sort of flying monkey nonsense that's out there. This is what is appearing on Twitter. I'm only going to show you one. There's plenty of them out there already within hours of the fire taking place. This is from someone using the Twitter handle Zanukuli. UCT students must assist the fire by adding petrol. He can't speak English apparently because it's BY, not BUY. BUY is purchasing something. But anyway, Rhodes Memorial must burn to the ground, ashes to ashes. Well, thank you for your moronic, idiotic, racist contribution to society. Please go in a hole somewhere and bury your head and don't come back. Anyway, that's real. So people have already turned into a political event with this racist nonsense. Courtney's not a she, Courtney's a he. Missed 15 minutes was uncalled. Oh, Dean. Oh, that's all right, Dean. Welcome back. Z3PV is back again. Wow, a lot of familiar faces back. I guess the poor smokers are going to get the blame. Well, you never know. I mean, fires start that way. Campers leave fires unattended or not properly extinguished. Can I post a link to a video on Twitter about firefighting helicopters? You can't post a link, Lori, because you have to have a moderator status. I can make you a moderator, Lori, if you want to accept that responsibility. But then if you want to keep it, we'll have to talk and you'll have to share some information with me and attend one of my moderator sessions, plus read my rules for moderators. But I can make you a temporary moderator, Lori, because I know you and I trust you. And if you want to put a link in, so I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to make Lori a temporary moderator, and then she can share a link. But only moderators can share links. So Lori Lettinen from Finland is now a moderator in Chris Wyatt Africa. So once again, destroying the myth that only old white men are moderators in this channel. In fact, over half my moderators are women and people of color. And here's another one. Lori is a woman. So that would be yet another little nail in the coffin of the racist flying monkeys who come here and attack this channel. Location of fire is immediately above Philip Sane Drive, Hospital Bend. After the initial investigation, it was surmised the origin of vague. Yeah, okay, there you go. And this is what happens when you have homeless people living all over the place. You have these sort of potentials for happening. Of course, people throwing cigarettes out of the cars, and people not putting out campfires properly, and then, of course, arsonists too. But we don't know what caused it. This is what Emil's saying is being reported now, so maybe that's the case. The above confirmed. Oh, okay. Emil's saying the South African National Park Services confirmed that was the case. Okay, so then we'll start treating it as such, a vagrant's fire. Look at the carnage caused by a vagrant's fire. My concern is this: why aren't there better firefighting points and firefighting equipment and things kept so close to UCT? If it's that dangerous for it to be that close to this fire potential, that's a bit disturbing. Michelle says, I believe they're not clearing the brush properly. That was a fact in '94. Huge logs have been not clear for years, and the firefighters went to the end of the road. It would have been an inferno. Yep. Jessica Volley Wright said Emil drove past at 8:45. Vehicle was at the scene. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Damage is extensive. Jaeger Reading Room is destroyed, including the African Studies Collection, the African Film Collection, part of government publications. Well, Dietrich Busha, it will just be a matter of hours before we hear black nationalists claim that racist white extremists burned the African Studies portion of UCT. And they'll say, strange how no other part of the university was burned, but only the African Studies stuff. Watch it. Watch for it to come. You'll hear that nonsense coming. Well, actually, I'm bloke despite the name. Okay, Lori. All right, well, my apologies. I always thought you were a lady. Well, we assumed Courtney was a lady when Courtney first came on because the picture had a hat on. It looked like a sun hat, and it turns out Courtney's a dude. Well, there you go. So I'm wrong. So that we'll let the flying monkeys continue their narrative about my moderators. Courtney says, remember how bad the homeless situation was in California. Sad how much damage is caused by people who refuse to take advantage of all the resources available to them. Good point, Courtney. You know, it's funny because I see people overseas always talking about how U.S. veterans are mistreated. They don't know what they're talking about. No U.S. veteran has any reason to be homeless. The Veterans Administration will put you in housing right now. Toot sweet. There is a toll-free number. Anyone can call. If you don't have a phone number, you can get someone to call it for you. And the VA, I know this for a fact. We had a veteran who just got out of service in Korea. He came back here. I don't know what happened to his discharge, what happened, but he had a medical discharge, and I don't know what's going on. But he apparently had no money, and he was on the verge of living on the street just a couple days after getting out of uniform. That's not acceptable. Just a 3 or 4 year veteran, but nonetheless, he's a veteran. So our local Veterans of Foreign Wars contacted the Veterans Administration on his behalf, and that same day he was put into a hotel at taxpayer expense. He was kept in the hotel for several days until they found affordable housing for him, which in this case meant he didn't pay anything for it. The Veterans Administration is paying for his housing. So no one should be on the street that's a veteran. Most of the people that are living on the street in California are there because of the asinine laws and rules that the Californians have controlling spatial distribution of housing and the outrageous prices. That's why. Same with San Francisco. People can't afford to live in San Francisco, so they wind up being homeless because they pay so much for the rent and they get buried in debt because of the overpricing, because of the way they control space. Yeah. So all these people talking about, Cape Town, the Vox video. Well, look at San Francisco, look at Los Angeles, the same sort of thing. Yes, we know you're a man, Courtney. We've said that. We thought back in the day you had that different image and you had this little sun cap on. It looked like you were a lady. We can't see that. Jack says, in many cities in South Africa, we have lovely, shiny new fire engines standing around, rotting in the elements, lack of firemen and women, mismanagement. Exactly. Paulie's ready. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and do this then. I'm gonna play that video, and I'm going to send the link in here for Paulie, and he'll call in. All right, so let me just put this back on. This for folks who tuned in late, and if you've been here, don't leave. Hang around. Stick around for Paulie. He's a professional firefighter. We're going to talk about the Cape Town thing and what he knows and doesn't know. He just returned from Cape Town, landed in Joburg. So this is the 6-minute video. Get something to drink, grab a bite to eat, use the loo, come back and stick with Chris Wyatt Africa. We're going to have Paulie on in just a moment. Here you go.
Guys, you don't understand how fast this is going. It's with me in seconds. It's right on me. Here it is, here it is, here it is. I'm going to have to bolt. I'm going to have to go. The heat's hitting me. The smoke's hitting me. It's here. It's up there. It's there. It's there. Can you hear it? It's got behind me. There it is. This is insane. Jesus, this is hot. This is hot. I better go. There's a helicopter coming to drop water.
I'm trying to outrun the fire. I think my car just got burnt at Rhodes Memorial. It's spreading like wildfire.
Oh my God.
Never go. Look as it's
But
going
it's
there.
gonna go spinning
It's
very
there
quickly.
very quickly. It was dry today. But it started low, no? It started low. Must put on your radio and listen.
This is gonna be a whole day, whole night thing.
Get up and got quite that now. The helicopter.
You can see these vehicles on top here along the path.
Yeah.
That's probably the firemen.
And you know they had to come from Tafelberg, eh? With that road. Right around.
Whoa, Dad, look at the fire. It's huge. It's yellow.
Alright, sorry, I saw there was a sound issue on my live recording. I'm trying to fix that problem. But basically you can see here I'm at the jamming steps at UCT campus. There's quite a large firefighter presence and metro police and law enforcement are here. And this is where the helicopter is really focusing right now. It's this building that's on fire. You can see at the top there, side. The rest of this place is also and yes, I'll be bringing you more as it goes on.
Folks, sorry about that. I had the camera on there. Just a second, I'll be joined by Paulie, who's a professional firefighter from South Africa, who was in Cape Town today with his wife traveling, and he just got back to Joburg to his house. I'm going to bring him in, and I encourage Paulie, if I've got something wrong, if you heard me say something wrong, to please correct it. We try to be objective here, and so let's bring Paulie in very quickly. Hey, Paulie, how's it?
Chris, good evening. How are you?
Well, I'm aghast at what's happened in Cape Town today. Hopefully, we'll find out what the cause was at some point. But whatever the case is, the damage appears to be catastrophic to parts of the city.
Certainly, it does. And yeah, what a day! Just unbelievable. It was quite crazy actually being there. As you know, I was in Cape Town this weekend, and yeah, at about 9 o'clock this morning, we actually left to go for a walk in Mooley Point. And when we were leaving, because my wife's up in Devil's Peak, up in High Cape, and when we left, we saw a huge plume of smoke, and it wasn't massive, but it was definitely something worth noting, and it certainly turned into a lot more than just a little fire, didn't it?
Indeed, it did. So, did you get to hear much of the program because you were traveling? Did you hear much of what I had to say and didn't say?
I did actually, because my bags took forever to come off the aeroplane, and at the carousel I stood for about 25 minutes. Then I missed the first train to town, and then on the whole way I just plugged in basically and just decided to tune in because it was quite interesting listening to what you had to say and what was going on. And obviously I was there and saw quite a bit from our apartment this morning and what was going on. So yeah, interesting.
Well, let me run through a couple points just to make sure I didn't misstate things. I mean, because we had people saying it was odd that Mustard's mill had burned because the fire was on the other side of Duval's. But in fact, in my assessment, that's not particularly odd because tinder can be lifted up, the winds can shift things over, it can light things from a distance. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, I think first, let me just state for the record that I work up in Gauteng for a major metropolitan department, without giving too much away. And I don't have the experience. The Western Cape, the wildland firefighting and mountain firefighting is a completely
very different
genre. I know about burning buildings, informal dwellings, car fire, anything structural specifically. Yes, we do have the odd felt fire or grass fire up here. But in terms of this scale, I've got no experience. But however, I have got 13 years experience in the service. And yeah, 13 years will be in September. So yeah, as you were saying, exactly what you were saying is factually correct. You got to remember that today it was quite a hot day, and it really wasn't blowing too much. And remember, the higher the lower the humidity content, it allows things to be more dry and things can spread far quicker. As if there's a higher vapor content in the air and in the mountain per se, had it been raining, etc. So you have the propensity for it to actually spread far, your rate of spread, what they call your ROS, your rate of spread, is far higher in a circumstance like today. And I believe the wind did actually pick up a bit later, and it was blowing northwester. I mean, everybody knows the famous Cape Doctor, the southeast, and when that blows, then you've got a real problem, which I'm sure many of the Cape Townians and people tuning in from that area know. But this was a northwester, and hence blew towards the university. But you must remember, heat rises. So, I mean, if you just take a match at home or something, you look like this, the heat rises.
Yep.
So, of course, you got a huge, beautiful peak up, and anything in its way sort of got taken out, didn't it?
No, I saw that as we saw the later videos coming up, you could see the fire down below towards around UCT, and you saw up on Table Mountain at some of the plateaus up there as you go up on the corner where the fire had gotten to. And obviously that had been picked up and carried by the wind up there. And that's a real concern because the fire may be going one direction, but if it happens to get caught up in the upwind, the updraft, and taken this way, it lights that can just spread. And it's not like you can just drive fire trucks up on top of Tafelberg. It doesn't work that way.
Well, that's what you've seen, haven't you? Where the fire has been jumping, and how it went from the forest there over to the trees. There were palm trees on fire. Then over the jammy stairs. That's where that library and stuff was on fire. It just jumps. And I don't know if on that 6-minute video you had the windmill that was on fire.
Yes, Mostard's mill.
I mean, for that you can probably guess is a burning ember that's now blown onto the thatch roofing and caught. So it obviously jumps that way. And then your radiant heat, so anything obviously which is close with that vegetation, that thick fane boards, the radiant heat and anything close, it just catches fire and just carries on going from basically the convection.
No, absolutely. And then the other thing I said about it too, one of the things I said is that when you get so much heat like this, and the structure, it's the same sort of thing, it becomes a force of its own because the air expands, molecules expand because they're heated up, they get excited, and that contributes to the conflagration.
Absolutely. And I think I was watching a bit earlier, and a lot of people were asking about where the Rhodes Memorial Restaurant exploded, can we say? I've been to that restaurant a few times. We actually enjoy going there. It's beautiful, and the food's really good too. Yeah. What that was an LPG gas. So your liquid petroleum gas cylinder. That's what they use to cook and do the heat up the ovens on. So what that is called specifically is what is known as a blevy, boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion. So what would have happened is that the fire, obviously the structure would have caught fire and would have definitely, sorry, I just have to keep looking at my phone because we're worried that my missus might be evacuated, and I'm scared because the fire actually is going on around Devil's Peak where it's blown up too. Although it's significantly much higher than a high Cape, it's getting a bit dodgy, and they're talking on their WhatsApp group if there is to be an evacuation. So at any minute she phones, I'm sorry. So as I was saying, that blevy is caused by the heat. So where they obviously had the gas cylinders I assume they would have been outside because fire code and building code, you're not allowed to have them inside the structure. They have to be outside in a container, in a locked area. And you would have found from the high heat over a period of time, eventually the LPG gas inside, it starts boiling. And then you would have seen the thing starts to expand, and then kaboom. Yep. And that would happen with any of your propane, any of your methane, all of that kind of stuff, your gases like that are in a cylinder. So it wasn't the restaurant exploding like in the movies. That's not what happens. Just because it was on fire doesn't mean it explodes. It was the continued heat of the gas cylinders, probably a 50 kg, because most restaurants use a 50 kg, the big ones outside, and just exposed for a long period of time. And then without any water to cool it down, etc., went kaboom.
Well, you've described in a much more technical and scientific fashion than I explained it. The way I explained it to people is pretty much along those lines. I said that from my layperson perspective is that the deal is that is those containers become vulnerable because that gas gets excited in there. It can be heated. It can expand. And then one of the most vulnerable parts, of course, is the nozzle, the connection there, because that's more vulnerable to breaking. Whereas the steel that's usually encasing the container, it's not unusual in a serious configuration for that to explode, but it's more likely that nozzle is going to break and cause it, and it's going to ignite and then blow everything up. So that was a non-technical explanation. I guess I did okay.
You get a C minus.
A C. Oh, whoa, that's better than matrix scores in South Africa. So
no, that's a pass.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a pass. Good enough to be a brain surgeon in South Africa these days. But so welcome to some new people just tuning into the chat. Appreciate you coming in here. Let's see. Yes, the African Library is burnt down. A few other buildings. It's not the African Library. It's the annex there. But yeah, thank you for that sharing that, Jeremy Gilmore. Yeah, no, it's so you saw it early this morning, right? I mean, what time did you fly out?
I flew out at 4:45 this evening.
So you would spend most of the day in Cape Town then?
Yeah, we just quickly went. We went for a run on the promenade in Mooley Point, and then had a cup of coffee. And by the time we got back at about 11:30, and I mean, it was significant. I don't know how I can send you, but just from our flat, I can send you nice pictures from from Devil's Peak side. So it's the other side, not looking head on. It's from round the corner, and just watching it grow and grow and grow. And eventually, I mean, I was telling the missus that eventually you're going to see it's probably going to get to the peak. And then it was starting to burn up top. And what a lot of people I don't think understand, possibly I don't, and I can't comment on, but water is a big problem there. Your supply, the access on the mountain, the slopes. Yeah, it's to do technical firefighting there. It's absolutely crazy. Hence, you see the helicopters which were working in tandem. It was amazing. They were going from the fire ground. They were going down to the harbor, and they were refilling right in front of us. So we were watching them refill and then go back up and down. And I mean, that is so technical and so well coordinated. But what a lot of people might not know is that there's a spotter plane. It looks like a little Cessna or something, a little Piper that was flying on doing the spotting, which is it's a hell of a well coordinated effort. And the people in Cape Town specifically are so blessed with the fire service they've got. They've really got a top-notch service who have got great experience. And I mean, yeah, today when you're fighting the elements with the wind pumping like that and that amount of fire, it's unbelievable. It's sensational. What can you do? You can't stop it. So, and I mean, those helicopters, a little chappy fact for everybody, the sock, what is called holding the water for the drop. I think 2 of the helicopters there today had the 500-liter ones, and then the bigger ones, I think they were Hueys that were flying. That's 1,000 liters it can take. So at a given time, you're dropping 1,000 liters plus this periphery with the guys on the hand lines and the hoses. So it's challenging. Very challenging.
No, absolutely. That's the Brew mentioned it, and so I went into a little bit of that because I've dealt with that. You know, we use C-130 aircraft, which we have this system built for, which does that sort of thing. And of course, I'm familiar with the Canadian aircraft that scoop on lakes in Canada and pick up all that water and then drop it. It's a real, I mean, it's heroic work those guys doing in aviation, flying out there. You've got all kinds of things. You've got obscurance, you've got updrafts, you've got things, and in this case, you've got a mountain right there. Very dangerous. I mean, it's it looks like, you know, if you're a civilian looking like, well, that looks pretty cool, I'd like to do that. That's an incredibly dangerous thing to do. And we've lost people fighting fires with aircraft in the past, especially here in the States. It's hats off to those guys. That's a tough job.
I think if you Google, I think at the beginning of last year, the Sandparks helicopter, they lost the helicopter in the Cape. I don't know, it was in Cape Town or was it towards more, I think the Betty's Bay fire, the one helicopter, it was beginning of last year, if I'm not mistaken, or end of 2019. It's a hell of a dangerous job. I mean, like I said, that wildland firefighting, I mean, you guys have the smoke jumpers and everything that side. Right. It's so specialized that it's its own qualification. The courses to do it are its own specific qualification. It's not just your regular fireman can go there and say, "Oh, I'm going to fight a mountain fire." It doesn't work like that at all.
It's also not just a regular qualification for a pilot. They're very specific qualifications and training for this. So the thing I was talking about is the Modular Airborne Firefighting System, or MAFs. That's what we have here in the States. They're built for the C-130 aircraft, which is a cargo aircraft. And, of course, I mentioned that the Canadians have a smaller thing they use up there for firefighting because Canada is full of forest and they have lots of fires. And there's this, I think it's the 212 is the model for it. But if you ever watch Ice Pilots Northwest Territories, they showed how they sold one of those in Europe. They refitted it and flew it to, I think, Spain or Portugal or something like that. But, yeah, MAFs is what the National Guard uses to fight these fires.
One thing we were discussing this afternoon, and maybe Tian, one of the aviation guys, Joe Niemann, might be able to tell you, because I can't understand why the Western Cape, the province, hasn't procured aircraft. I know if you look in Colorado, they use, I think they even use Boeings or an Airbus, a small, maybe a 737 or something, but something where you can actually put significant amounts of water, 50,000 liters plus, or you use the fire retardant powder. I'm surprised the Western Cape, because the fires aren't just in Cape Town, they have wildfires that go right up to Nyes in the Plettenberg Bay, Oatsur and all those kind of places. I'm surprised. I'd like to know, perhaps it's expensive and cost, which I can understand, but the reasoning why the Western Cape yet, being that other country with that under the other political province, political power, why they haven't yet procured a big aircraft that can do those big dumps. Like I said, the 50,000 liters of water, the 50 tons of the fire retardant powder. I just don't know why they haven't done that yet, because I think that would make a significant help, a significant contribution.
No, absolutely. It's and the stuff's there, and it's also not that expensive. It's more expensive than a standard aircraft, but we're not talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. We're talking about a few millions of dollars to buy these things, to do the training. Canada produces this aircraft. The U.S. produces these systems. They're available, and it is a bit shocking that in the 21st century that the Western Cape doesn't have these aircraft on standby and available to them. I agree with you. Especially,
I'd like to just know there must be a reason, or they must have thought of it. I can't see why they wouldn't have. So there's got to be an implication somewhere that we just don't know about.
Well, perhaps we're just being too generous. This is the same city where the National Party, then the DA, then the ANC, then the DA have failed the residents with piss poor water management, and letting the climate Nazis run around and claim that it's climate change when it's actually poor water management. So and I'm not giving them a free pass on the water issue, but the first time I went up to Table Mountain, the first several times I couldn't get up the mountain because every time I turn around the damn cable car is broken for repairs. So I finally got up there a number of years ago. But all my previous trips, I would drive up to the parking area and I look around. I'm like, man, this must be a nightmare to fight fires. There's no water points here. You'd have to drive up with what you have in the truck, and and hopefully you can put out. You're going to have the winds that go up and raise up these tires. I can only imagine.
Are you aware that this evening, I actually was just reading the news when I got to the airport, that there's a park below at the bottom end of Table Mountain called Deer Park that was also apparently caught fire late this evening at about I think I've read about 5 o'clock.
I didn't see that. Okay, yeah, that was.
I
was recording videos and editing at that time, so I missed that. But yeah, wow, not surprised.
So that's quite hectic. But yeah, just the magnitude of the job that the guys have got, it's just crazy. And for me, I think if I had to take a guess and take a gander, again, I said I'm not a wildland firefighting expert. That's not my forte at all. But I think what the incident commander, because they've got a big unified command amongst the fire service, the sandparks, disaster management, UCT, they've got this is the real. Can I just take this? This is the wife. I have
That's
to take
it. I'll put you on mute. Put your microphone on mute. All right, folks. Yeah, that's Paulie, who's a professional firefighter. As he mentioned, he does structural firefighting in urban areas and doesn't do wildfires. My experience has not been structural fires. It's actually been in wildfires. That's so interesting. But again, I'm not a professional firefighter. I'm not going to make that claim. So let's see what else we got here. I'm missing some chat while he's calling. He's probably his wife's giving an update about what's going on in Cape Town would be what I imagine. So hang tight. We'll see what's going on. I don't know who this Vans was, but whoever the moderators that took them out, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yep. And I see the trolls have come over. You know, a tragedy of things burn. Why are trolls coming over here to this channel? Just go elsewhere. Do your hate wank somewhere else. Bother people elsewhere. Tegan Delport says, we in the northern suburbs, we can see the flames from here. Very sad day. Well, thank you for sharing that, Tegan. I appreciate that. It is a very sad day. Poppy Wakwa. What's going on, UCT? Well, the fire reached UCT. The flames leaped and burned the part of the UCT library with the special collections there. Apparently where the African Studies collections artifacts are at, among other things. Really a tragic loss for the patrimony of South Africa. We'll see what happens. Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. Let me see if he's still there. No, he is. He just got his camera off. Okay. Yeah, so that's what happened at UCT today. This massive fire breaking out on Table Mountain. It's destroyed the Rhodes Memorial Restaurant. It has also destroyed part of the UCT library in Cape Town. And it has destroyed the Mostarts Mill, a historic landmark there. Really sad. So far, we've heard of only one injury. That's a firefighter who was burned. No fatalities or injuries reported beyond that. But folks, bear in mind that this is a rough area with trails all over the place. Someone could have died, and we wouldn't know about it yet. Very distinct possibility. So hopefully no one was, fingers crossed. But there has been a lot of unfortunate loss of patrimony and history lost today, and documents and things that really are important to South Africa and the world. Dean says, hopefully it was extinguished before the winds pick up early tomorrow morning. Well, that's for the history. Wonder who's going to claim to be first now, says WC. We'll see. And Neil Jeffrey sharing information about the gas cylinders. Exactly right. Let me see. What else we got here? Emil says, also many of the wildfire guys and girls are volunteers. Big salute to them. Yes, and that's how I was involved in it, Emil, as a volunteer. So I'm not a professional firefighter, but involved in putting out wildfires on more than one occasion as a volunteer, contributing. And some rudimentary firefighter training came along with it. Larsal said, don't be funny, but the fire in Minor Peak looks like a problem. I'm going to predict that it's going to reach the Protea Forest tonight. Let's hope not. Let's hope that you're wrong about that. Mokupa says a fire scuba diver was once scooped up and dropped into a fire. What? I never heard that before. What are you talking about? Anyway, so Paulie's back. Was that the wife?
No, it's not good news. So literally, she's going to evacuate now. She was just showing me in the video. She was showing me. So we live on a cul-de-sac at the top of High Cape. So we're not right on the mountain pass of Devil's Peak. There's about 2 rows of houses higher than High Cape Estate. But at the turning circle, she showed me directly, I don't know, about maybe 80 meters across. The fire is literally behind the houses there, and it's coming down. So that I'm going to guess and say it was embers that have blown across down. Yeah. Because the rest of the mountains it's actually quite low down now where it's burning. It's a shame. She's getting the stuff and she's going. Actually, as soon as I landed, she actually started packing the car's ready to go. So she's going to leave now and go to friends. And she says the police are there. And it's we're actually quite lucky. Outside, literally at the bottom of the flat block, there's hydrants there. It's about a 2.5-story high building or flat. But this is hectic. So I think if people are listening in from High Cape or Vredehuk area, I think the fire is coming around. I mean, I've just seen it firsthand.
So it's not under control, and it, as we suspected, it's still a danger. And so people need to be aware that if you're close to this, you need to be prepared to evacuate, and whatever valuable items you need, make sure you got them: passports, ID card, driver's license, bank statement, whatever you need, cards. Make sure you've got it. Change of clothing. If you're not like me in the military and you don't have a go bag ready, I'm sure Paulie's probably got a go bag because he's got to go for something. If you don't have a go bag as a civilian, you better go make a go bag right now if you're in Cape Town. I don't care where you live in Cape Town. You ought to have a go bag. Get it ready in case you have to evacuate, because when you do have to evacuate, it might be in moments' notice, and then it's too late. And people. I
see Leanne Singh is saying, where is the fire? So if you're looking at the mountain on the top left-hand corner, below the what they call the tampon tiles, on the left there's sort of Devil's Peak and High Cape and Vredehuk. From what my wife showed me on the balcony, it's coming round past the quarry. If people who hike there, the quarry, it's coming around there. So it's basically just above High Cape Estate is where the fire is currently. But it's much lower down, which makes me definitely think that embers or something was blown over because it hasn't come down from the rest of the fire, the body of fire. But I think the best thing that could happen now, and again, this is just talking from a theoretical textbook point of view, is for the wind to actually, people say, no, we need the wind to die down, the wind to die down. What we need to happen is the wind to actually turn around so that the wind can blow the fire back into itself, into the burnt area, and assist in calming down the fire, if that makes sense. So the fire, if it's blowing from, what's it blowing, right to left, we want the wind to blow, I think the southeast, if I'm not mistaken, maybe, and to blow the fire back to the already burnt part, which will help in alleviating and calming down the fire and the spread, and burn back into itself, what we call a burn back. That would definitely assist.
Well, closer to home, does your wife have somewhere she can evacuate to, some friends or family outside of town?
Yeah, she's going to friends. I just see on the WhatsApp now that on the area, the group there on the street, they're now saying they have to evacuate. She's going to drive down to friends in Sea Point. Go there, or maybe to her mom. She's actually just sent me a video. I wonder if I don't know if I can show you guys on the camera here, but this is how close the fire is to our house. Let me show you right now. I don't know if this is going to help you. Let's see. If I go there.
Yeah, just keep it that tip the top back because you're getting reflection. Just tip the top back. There you go, like that. Okay, yeah, we can see that now. Yeah.
So that's literally about 100 meters from where I stay off the balcony.
Oh, that's not encouraging. Geez, not good. Wow.
Yeah, I think she says there's actually 2 fire trucks that have just got there now. No, that's crazy. I mean, that's where we stay. It's
well, that's where you were this morning.
That's just unbelievable. So for anybody, the fire's up there in the top yard. It's up there in Devil's Creek High Cape Estate. It seems like it's going around. So there are actually a number of hydrants there in that area. So hopefully they get some machines there. She says there's 2 fire engines have just arrived. So let's hope the brothers there can go do the business, and I'm sure they're going to do it. So
absolutely,
yeah, it's hectic.
Well, Paulie, what I want to do here is I really am reticent to cancel a stream with 500 people watching it. But what I need to do here is so to get more current on what's going on, I'm going to, why don't we wrap up here in a minute? I'm going to run that video of those that I've shown to people who missed it because a lot of people just come in for the last part. And then I'm going to close up the stream, take an hour break, and come back for Night Owls. And we'll come back with updates after an hour. So are you able to join us tonight?
I can email you this footage if you'd like it.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. So I can get that plus other footage, and we can get updated information because a lot of the updates have been coming in here now. And at some point, I don't like to be behind because then I'm not speaking authoritatively from information. So why don't we do that? So can you come back for the Night Owls as well, do you think?
Yeah, I'll be around. I got to just go run around. I need to go do a few things, but the Night Owls should be good. I should be around.
All right, I'm going to set up a Night Owl stream. So I'm going to thank you and have you drop off now. And then and I'll see you back here for Night Owls, and I'll set up a Zoom so you can call in if necessary, and we can take other calls as well. All right.
Which is the best email to your YouTube address? I can send you these videos.
The one that's on YouTube, just send it to that. Look under the About tab, and also if you want to send me your mobile number, that way it's just easier. We can use WhatsApp or Telegram in the future. So okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
Cheers, guys.
All right,
Bye.
folks. That's Paulie, who is in Joburg, just came back from Cape Town. His wife is now being forced to evacuate because the fire is not contained in Cape Town. It's threatening residential areas as we speak. And there you have it, folks. I'm going to drop here because I've been on for nearly 2 hours. We're going to run that 6-minute video again. And then I'm going to encourage all of you to go over and join Ronaldo Jos on his channel. If you'd like to go watch that, watch his sec chat. I'm going to go over there as I compile more information, look for more video footage, and put this together to talk about what's happening in the mother city of Cape Town today. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Really appreciate the support. If you're not a subscriber, why not become one? And what's this American Oak doing talking about South Africa? Well, because I know more about the country than many South Africans, and I spent much of my life in Africa. Anyway, folks, so there you have it. Thanks a lot for all the feedback, people sharing information about the Baker Theater and other things as went along. Appreciate that so much. You can tune back in here. I'll be back on at 9:35 Central Africa time. That's Botswana South Africa, Namibia, 9:35 for Night Owls. I'll set that stream up as soon as I get off air. But in the meantime, if you want, go over and check out Ronaldo Jos on his program. And please feel free to become a subscriber. We appreciate it. There's no charge for being a subscriber. Smash the like button. We got 299. Can we not get 300 likes out of this? 400 people watching right now. We've had more than that watching. This has been the biggest stream we've had in a long time. And unfortunately, it's over a tragic situation. Thankfully, no fatalities thus far. Let's hope that continues to be the case. I'm going to leave you guys with a 6-minute video, and then we're going to wrap up. So thank you all so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. God bless. And hearts and prayers out to all the residents of Cape Town, white, black, brown, whatever you are. Let's hope that your home is not threatened tonight and your life is not put in jeopardy, and that the firefighters can manage to get this under control. So God bless, folks. Here we go. 6 minutes of this footage, this compiled footage of events took place today in Cape Town before the sun fell.
Be alive. As you don't understand how fast this is going. It's with me in seconds. It's right on me. Here it is, here it is, here it is. I'm gonna have to bolt. I'm gonna have to go. The heat's hitting me, the smoke's hitting me. It's here. It's up there. It's there, it's there. Can you hear it? It's got behind me. There it is. This is insane. Jesus, this is hot. This is hot. I better go. There's a helicopter coming to drop water.
I'm trying to outrun the fire. I think my car just got burnt at Rhodes Memorial. It's spreading like wildfire.
Oh my God.
Not yet by the blocks.
Never go. Look, as it's going
It's
there.
gonna go spinning
It's
very
there very quickly. It was dry today. But it started low, no? It started low. Must put on your radio and listen.
This is gonna be a whole day, whole night thing.
Yeah. But what is that now? The helicopter?
You can see these vehicles on top there along the path.
Yeah.
That's probably the firemen.
And you know they had to come from Tafelberg, eh? With that road. Right around.
Whoa, Dad, look at the fire. It's huge. It's yellow.
there was a sound issue on my live recording. I'm trying to fix that problem. But basically you can see here I'm at the jamming steps at UCT campus. There's quite a large firefighter presence and metro police and law enforcement are here. And this is where the helicopter is really focusing right now. It's this building that's on fire. You see at the top there, side. The rest of this place is also and yes, I'll be bringing you more as it goes on.